I had to move a lot of storage. You know, I can't keep up giving myself therapy living among you. I can't keep up with the vlogs and the storage and the videos. I gotta, like, it just keeps happening. So, but I gotta get myself some therapy from myself. So I'm not gonna post this anytime soon, but I need to record it for my own sanity living among you. A part of me is just wishing the Anthropocene will speed up as quickly as possible. In a way, this is good for you who refuse to kind of accept reality, because it will minimize suffering. You know, if the water, let's say that you're swimming in, boils faster, and it's not just about climate, it's about your social structures and everything. So, but also my life will be easier when somebody with my skill sets may eventually be recognized as an efficient problem solver. Okay, June 12th today, 2023, a Monday. So I found, asking around at the pharmacy at a mall, I found a drop-in clinic that was closing soon, and I went and I explained, I said, this is for a living donation form of my kidneys, supposed to be no fees. Doctor was finding what I was answering, which I was trying to be as small as possible, but feeling heard is a little bit. So I just want to say less, because I do want to do this, and people might think you're not mentally fit to do it, to be of service to others. And so on the form, again, I'm glad it asked who it is designated for, and I did say in my first email to that organization, I just want to be sure that person is not a religious fundamentalist, which is, kind of likely. Like, I'd like to donate a part of me to somebody that is likely to be having a life that would be a little bit like me, to try to not be part of the problem, but be part of the solution. So, I mean, it might be there's a system where it's anonymous. That person might never find out who I am. I don't know. Like, I'd like that person to find out who I am, because maybe that's the only person in the entire world that would watch my YouTube videos if I reposted them. And I'll have to send, just in case something happens in the surgery, I'll have to send my sister-in-law my password and say the instructions. If I die, just repost this. And wherever my motorhome or motorcycle is, just donate it to a charity, and half charity and half, whoever's going to do the work, like where my motorcycle was parked or anywhere else, to kind of get it done to somebody that maybe is a low-income person to live in this motorhome that can fix it up, or the motorcycle, somebody that, just got their license but can't afford it, but it just wants to kind of not move big vehicles around that are overly priced. So anyways, so that got done, and I said, well, can you at least, while I'm here, because they're charging the care card, can you give me an orthotics form referral? So if there's an orthotics person at some point here, if I stay here. I didn't get an answer yet for the job. I was supposed to get an answer today. It might come later today, or I have to send another email that says, okay, well, I guess we're forgetting about it. And maybe they'll send me another one and give me more time to decide. I really feel valued when this happens. And then, of course, I'm not even in the same location as the Work BC that I already hinted might need help for transportation for this summer job. And that printed posters, but they never finished it properly after I have to keep making corrections for them. Of course, I didn't go to my appointment this morning, which is another location that I left because of the toxicity of the YMCA, mostly overfilling my cup. So I didn't go to my COVID, and I didn't get an answer from any of the politicians where I said, I want shingles, not COVID. I made this appointment. There's no way to get in touch with you guys. You can cancel or reschedule, but you can't communicate through your system. So the Salvation Army here is barely open. During the week, they have a lot of facilities and resources and assets. And again, people say, oh yeah, no, they're looking for work every place. Like, we can't open the visitor center as much as we want here, because, except I can't get a job. I had to send another email, which they're going to think, what's wrong with me? Where I said, well, are you sure you're looking for drivers? Because, like, they're posted everywhere. I've seen more of their posters, and I was one of the first ones to grab a phone number. And they're answering me right away by email. And then I send my resume, and my resume is more than just being a one skill sheet, right? Which is what you identify with. So that could be I lose work from having too many skill sets in industries and the professional world. Anyways, I mean, it's not the first time that I suspect, but people might say, well, you'll leave. Well, of course I'll leave eventually, but I give notice and I offer to train, but treat me well and I might not leave. Because I did say in my email I prefer part-time. You're less likely to have me leave if you don't insist on full-time. Can you do that if you're really in need of workers? Or it has to be done this way, this way, this way. And again, this is me explaining to you, you don't know how to hire staff. And you're uncomfortable hiring competent staff. So I don't know how to explain this to you. So I've been parked here at the subway, right? Same mall as the Lordco, where I didn't go see the manager. And they're going to say, well, he doesn't want to solve this. I don't want to be abused when you already know what the issue is. So you don't want to solve it? So I didn't hear back, of course, from W5 or the Human Rights Tribunal. They send a generic email again, doesn't even say my name. And who else? BCA says they're going to forward it to the department that does this. Now, I still have to send a video to show like some of the examples of the starter not working to the guy who has it on his bill. So he can, say screw Lordco, like he should say, if he cares about human beings, and say just return it there, they'll refund me, and I'll, email it to you. They wouldn't even say how much he'd be refunded, except that it's enough to cover the cost of the one close to here that I walked to at Napa. So again, now at Subway here, okay, so I'm shopping around. I got very little money, and I have to do a cash back. Okay, and I did cash back of $30. I wasn't even sure it'd be accepted at the cash. So I shop around a long time. Take this. I shopped a little bit for a couple items this morning too, and I changed my mind on things, kind of thinking my budget, because there's really probably less than $10 in my bank account right now, and I'm not even sure if something will bounce that's a small fee. I got small fees of storage from Google or Disney Plus, which I pretty much never get a chance to watch. There was months where I didn't watch anything. And recently just a tiny bit, like half episodes or something once in a while, if I can charge my system. Now here, my vehicle is in the sun. Oh, there's beautiful places. I see motorhomes or people traveling, all sorts of shade. Like there's some neighborhoods where the trees are giving natural shades of the houses. There's a lot of shade here, but I'm stuck here, so I gotta watch not to waste food either. Like the lemonade I bought, I should be finished like pretty much today. And it was the cheapest lemonade I could get. Tastes kind of weird, but that's the cheapest one I could get. Here, fruit, I can't even afford it. Like, fruit grows here. When I was in Ladysmith, my neighbor said, oh yeah, here's our orchids of, raspberries, strawberries. Yeah, go pick some anytime you want for eating. But here, it's like food grows here, and it has to come from somewhere else, has to be packaged this way. And I'm asking them, like, how come you never have sandwiches here at Safeway? Where it is, discounted. Oh, would they just check it? I said, what, don't the Salvation Army or food bank pick it up? No, they just get bread, but most of the food actually gets put in a bin to be picked up for a wildlife rescue place or something. Oh, okay, so I'll go try to volunteer there so I can eat the human food before the animals get it and enjoy working with the animals. Because the Salvation Army, I don't know, I can't get in touch with them. I'm asking about showers again. I'm asking about the pool again. I'm asking, like, there's a men's shelter, it closed. So there's a woman's shelter, but I have way too many skill sets to go there and work and volunteer and show them not all men are like this. But no, no, the only way you can help them is make sure they avoid men for the rest of their lives. I've actually written in job applications where it says, I have never been this type of man. I believe it'd be beneficial to your clients to hire somebody, let's say, to give life skills lessons like me. Anyway, I go for the sandwich here at Safeway, and it's something you choose, right? Different things. So I was very clear many times. $4.99, small, what kind of bread? Like, always very clear. Like, there's people overhearing my communication, how clear it is. And of course it is I'm afraid to say now, but it's, I believe, from the Philippines. And, and from the Philippines, I think, pattern-wise, I would say better to work in places where nobody orders anything different than the fast food regular way to make it cold, right? Even if it's supposed to be warm. But, I had to repeat myself with as much patience as possible, but hinting at, yes, cut it before after. And then, it was, the motivation wasn't there. And then other ladies waiting in line behind me, they're like noticing like what's happening with our communication. Like, he's clear, this guy. What's happening? And of course, she's kind of a regular, but kind of new. I don't know, because there's like some people know her as a regular, but the lady said she was new. And so they say, oh yeah, well, I guess it's Monday morning. So they're talking like this, gossiping in front, right, of that lady that would feel bad. Now, I'm trying not to make her feel bad, but I'm trying to hint, you need to pay attention and communicate better here. So anyways, so I get this thing, it's $7.99. I notice at the cash. Right? And then, because I couldn't pay there to get cash back where they make the sandwiches. So I go to the cash, and there's a lady lets me pass in line when a cash opens because I only have these 2 items. Oh man, I said, oh, it's going to be long probably, so we'll see. She shouldn't have let it. Anyway, and then as I'm saying, oh man, $7.99, like it's going to take a long time to solve this when it was supposed to be $49. I'll pay for it, but because there's people waiting in line. So I'm doing the role modeling of the customer service, right? Referencing the outside world. There's like people piling up at the cash, and this guy he calls a manager who's like talking to me in between 2 clients behind me, and I'm like, come this way. It's like try to be a manager that knows managing skills or leadership skills. So he comes and he brings me back there. And then and then some other lady kind of comes in, and she's the lady that was putting food before, and she's helping out. And she's trying to get the flow of the customers and the sandwiches moving. And she helps, and he leaves. He says, and I say, you sure I'll be able to pay for the banana here, where they have to weigh it? Yes. And you sure I can get cash back here, because they said no before? Yes, you can. And he goes away. And then there's a third lady who's manager of a sandwich area, or that food deli, whatever. And eventually, she said, well, she made a mistake. She grabs it. I said, oh man, everybody, so there's 3 people that wants to problem solve, but poorly, without listening, by creating more issues. So they bring it down to $7.49. $7.49. Yeah, well, she shouldn't have charged the guacamole part. There's no guacamole. It's like, ma'am, like nobody's listening. Like it's like they want to problem solve, and they're powerful problem solvers in their heads, except that they're solving in the way they want to do it, not in the way that is referencing somebody else who's trying to communicate what happened. In the meantime, I'm saying, hey, Zenny, the Filipino older woman, I said, come here, I want to give you an apology. And I'm asking the other manager, the white woman, to listen to this apology. I said, I'd like to apologize on behalf of the 2 ladies waiting in line that mentioned this. It's Monday morning, and it probably might have hurt your feelings if you overheard this, and they were noticing the communication issues we were having. And I said, this is really what the complaint is. It's really communication, and it's the third person. Like I'm saying, this lady here also, the manager, you're like, and I said, I can't even volunteer to give this kind of training to people, and yet I'm victimized, and it's easy to predict what's going to happen in this thing. I'm wasting time, my sandwich gets cold. And then eventually she says, this lady, when I'm, explaining exactly what's happening, I said, no, I told that guy. And he said, yeah, I could do it here. And then I go back to the cash again, and he's happy to see this. But, all this time, and now, but the lady, the third one, because it was the cash person, and then the manager that came quickly, I don't know what nationality of origin he was from. Maybe it sounded a bit Spanish, maybe. And then the other lady was the white lady, and she just said, excuse me, we're not all perfect, we can't be perfect. But it's not about perfect. It's about not even human standards. It's about just listening to what happened, what I'm saying. And as soon as I say what it's like for me, it's hard for me because I'm very poor, and I was very clear, and other people heard I'm very clear. And I give training for free to employers that want this, and I can't do it. So it's very hard for me that this is happening. And as soon as my feelings get referenced in a way that a life skills coach can express these feelings with feedback that doesn't have anger, but that has genuine care and concern about everyone, is that's when referencing the outside world, we're allergic to this, and then you get the defensiveness. Now I got the defensiveness, and in the meantime, the Filipino lady was a bit self-conscious. She saw me return to it, but she's listening, and she's saying thank you. She appreciated some of that feedback, and that it wasn't directly aimed at her as a person, but it was more about patterns of communication, which was horrible with her, but also was a constant there among most staff, including managers. So she understood this. So I told her, even before she said thank you on the way that I was leaving, she said, when you come to work today, or every day say, make sure you remind yourself, because you work in a section where there has to be communication between you and the customer, is make sure you say the priority today is really the communication, listening, paraphrasing, making sure people understand if they choose this, the price is different, things like this. This is basic customer service skills. I'm giving them for free, and they hate my guts for it, while I'm the victim of it at the same time. This is really my life among you, and it's not fun. So now I'm telling this Filipino lady, yeah, I mean, I will enjoy the sandwich, except that I won't that much with digestion, because now I've got this hostility and these experiences to deal with. And sure enough, when I leave, I'm thinking, don't go directly to your vehicle. Somebody else from that place gave me a little card. It says parking permitted, because it doesn't take long for the Yomo community that are hostile, and that includes with others traveling from within their country and their province. Small town that, like this morning when I go, there's two guys gossiping. One's a manager, I think one's just an older guy, manager of a section, and they hate that I overheard and interrupted their gossiping for asking a question about where something was, but they still wanted to stay there and not show me. And so, I don't know what to tell you guys, but you can't save yourselves. So what's the use not wishing for the anthropomene to just speed up? You just can't and won't save yourselves in any way. I'm walking among you, and I've got all these skill sets that you require to become aware of and work on if you love your kids or your pets or your country or your way of life. And you can't fix this stuff. You just can't. So when I leave, I turn in a different direction, and then there's a person, I think maybe new in town, asking a young lady staff, maybe from India, maybe that's coming out for help. She's trying to tell her story. It didn't take long for the other young lady to not care about somebody that probably has more historical longevity with her family in this country, but she has a job, right? Now, I would have liked to hear her story. I think she had a French accent, but she kept walking towards the store to ask somebody, and I don't think it was about drugs. I think it was about maybe just wanting to eat or just put fuel in her vehicle. I don't know what it was, because I've heard a lot of stories. People from Quebec, they come here for a reason. Sometimes an employer that is related to tree planting is abusive, in the sense that if they're more sensitive to their feelings, these people, like, this is not okay, because they haven't been around where people act like this and they know it's not okay, then they might feel like, oh man, I lost the opportunity. It was expensive to come here, but I just don't want to be talked to in this way, right? My parents said don't allow people to talk to if they come from such families, and then they're ruined. And then because they're poor and they need help, people keep pushing them and abusing them and not caring. I would have heard that lady's story, but I would have shared, that young woman, I would have shared to say, I can't help you a lot, but I do have cans of food or whatever. Or I've learned this much about the community. You can go here or there or that so far, but there's very little help here from service providers. And I think I'm going to do a series that explains the concept of poverty that is aimed at service providers that supposedly cater, because I don't think they can reference the outside world. In a lot of their responses, I see they'll say, all you have to do is do this. What part of I don't have the money to do that, or I don't have a cell phone, or I don't have an address, or I can't move my vehicle to go there? What part of that don't you understand? Like, it's really like, I can't believe these people work in service providing, and I can't believe that people that have the worst communication skills are managers or work in sections of service industry where they have to interact in communication, and they're just not good at it. Anyways, this is almost 20 minutes. I mean, it's my counseling. Thank you. Nobody probably cares. It's hard to get help from people, and it's hard to even offer the help because they don't want it. Anyways, that's it. There's probably a whole bunch of other things I should say, but that's enough for now.